the production possibilities curve, or frontier as it's sometimes called. Thus far, we've introduced two of its four key properties. Scarcity, which means there's a trade-off or opportunity cost to anything you do or consume. More resources into making guns for, say, homeland security means less resources available to make consumer goods like butter. Guns versus butter has been a cliche of economics for decades. Property two of the curve, the law of increasing opportunity costs. The more you want of anything, the more you'll have to give up of other things. There remain two more key points about the curve. Point number 3. An economy is always trying to produce on the curve instead of inside it. That is, imagine that the curve or frontier represents everything the economy can provide. Say, every possible good on one axis, every possible service on the other. If it uses the resources efficiently, the best way it can, then it'll be somewhere on the frontier. This much of goods, this much of services, or perhaps this much and this much. But now suppose there's unemployment. People sitting around who want jobs but can't get them. If working, they'd be providing goods and or services, but they're not. So the economy, at less than full employment, is not producing as much as it could, but somewhat less, and thus finds itself inside the curve, not at maximum production. Economist Kent Ford.
One of the best examples of being inside the curve is the Great Depression. We had massive unemployed resources. We were way inside the curve with 25% unemployment. Some industries were operating at 20% of capacity. There was a great deal of misery. People were not making a living. They couldn't survive. An example of being on the curve or close to it would be World War II. There was a massive effort in that war. War production, tanks were being produced, airplanes were being produced, and everybody was working.
The strong with their willing muscles, and those less strong, but as willing, the braided schoolgirls, the white-haired grandmothers, the old young, the young old, working together in intimate harmony.
And working hard, working overtime, we were really pushing our maximum as far as our production possibilities.
Finally, here's the fourth and last point the production possibilities curve illustrates: economic growth itself. Growth means pushing the frontier outward. And that outward push is the goal of all economies, to get bigger and richer.
That curve will move out if we increase the factors of production, the things that produce goods and services, greater technology, better ways to do things. More human capital. People are more skilled and are able to produce more. If companies invest in physical capital, if there are more machines and factories that produce, that will increase the production possibilities. And more people in the workforce, more labor, through either more people entering the workforce, greater labor participation rate, or more immigration will push that production possibilities curve outward.
So the curve was down here somewhere in the late 1700s, say, before the Industrial Revolution. But as we steadily came up with ways to produce more, we could have more of pretty much everything. In terms of the picture, we've been moving this curve up and to the right pretty rapidly ever since. Or as economists like to put it, we've been making the pie of everything we could possibly have bigger and bigger and bigger. So the production possibilities curve, or frontier, not only illustrates scarcity, increasing opportunity costs, and efficiency, producing on the curve instead of inside it, but the whole point of economics, to make us all materially better off.